What is up, everybody? Welcome into episode 73, Winning Monday. First winning Monday of the season.
Man, can't believe we had a victory this weekend. I'm so happy. I'm so stoked. Looking forward to this coming week.
Stoked? What is this, the 90s?
I guess.
We won, though, and that's all that matters. We won. We got so much stuff to talk about. We got game highlights. We're here in the cow pasture on behalf of United Football Media. We got so much stuff to talk about. We're going to go over scores for the weekend. We got some crazy news going on in the league. We got some really good news going on in the league. Long-term health news. We're going to pop up here a little bit. Game highlights, score predictions. We're going to do league standings. And guess what, folks? With that win, with the Brahmas going to D.C. and beating the only undefeated team in the league this past weekend, we have kept playoff hopes alive, folks. Playoff hopes are alive. What do you think about that? We're going to make the playoffs, producer? Yes or no? Right now, on the spot.
Yeah, I think so. The way we're playing, I think so.
You didn't even pick them to beat DC. I did.
Hey, they're looking better. Turning stuff around.
Anyways, these are our scores for the weekend. First game on Friday. Memphis Showboats going down 27-9 to the Michigan Panthers. I personally think the Panthers are one of the better teams in the league. And now that they have finally figured out who their starting quarterback is over there, I actually think Michigan is the team to beat in the USFL. We got St. Louis and Arlington. I was surprised on how lopsided this victory was for Arlington, but it was very, very close until the end. And then, of course, we know, unfortunate circumstances, the quarterback for St. Louis, Wilkins, got hurt, probably out for the season. Whenever those non-contact injuries happen, something's not good. Then you got the Stallions to beat the Roughnecks 23-16 in Houston. I'll tell you, the score might suck for Houston fans, but the game sure did not. What an awesome performance by their third-string quarterback, Jalen McClendon. What an awesome game. And then we don't have to talk about it too much here because we're going to go in all kinds of in-depth detail and analysis and highlights. But the Brahmas went to D.C. and beat D.C. Anything from these past weekend games that stood out to you?
Well, as far as our division goes, XFL division, I mean, we got to see how good Arlington was, but, you know, once again, that blow to St. Louis. But that helps us as far as where, especially with our start, where we may end up at the end, especially versus them. So I think that can really help us out. Unfortunately on their side, but it made our season look a little better, a little more helpful.
All right, cool. Well, let's get into the news. Of course, this is the Brahma Bullpen on behalf of United Football Media from the cow pasture. We will talk about a little other league news, and let's go with the clickbaitish materials. Once again, Mike Mitchell gets tons of interaction on this from social media, but here are our attendance numbers. Michigan, 9,600. Not bad for Michigan. Arlington, 9,600. Right on par with what they've been doing. When the Brahmas played in Arlington, they got over 10. You're welcome, Arlington. Houston's basically Memphis number 2. You suck, Houston. Go to the games. Even the United Football Media's VP of Content, Ace, credentialed media personnel for the Houston Roughnecks were calling you guys out. And then DC did DC things right at 12,000. I would like to see that number closer to 15,000. That's less than what they were getting back in the XFL days. It looked kind of empty on TV. You know, we need to bump that number too. So DC fans, don't rest on your laurels there or whatever. Do better. But average attendance 9,500. What do you think?
Yeah, some of those aren't surprising. The DC one, that is a little surprising. Stadium looked very empty, and if I recall, this is tickets sold, not actual attendance. DC, no way they had 12,000 people there. I don't understand that with DC. They have a great fan base. The Beer Snake, they got tradition in that stadium. They got everything going for them, and they've got a team that was going into this game undefeated. I don't understand their attendance numbers. Houston, with a population base that big, what the heck are they doing? You know,
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on attendance.
Go check out the DC Defender show this week if you're a bullpen, bullpen fan and you don't ever watch the DC show. But go check out the DC show this week. They were complaining about penalties. They said that DC got more penalties than Brahmas, which is true in this one game. But the Brahmas are like the most penalized team in the league. You don't hear us complaining about penalties. We do complain about Deem Dumb Dino, But hey, that's for personal reasons. And then they were complaining because we got a touchdown on special teams. Like, what are we supposed to do? Not play special teams so that you're happy? Even last week when we almost beat Michigan, we had a huge special teams play with a punt. So, like, special teams is a part of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. Win all three phases. But the attendance needs to be better. I know it needs to be better. But speaking of attendance, we're going to call out some of our own. We don't just call out Houston and Memphis. We're calling out San Antonio. This is your current. Literally 30 seconds before starting to record this video, we looked up. All those blue seats are empty. And all the gray seats that are not actually shown very well above them are empty. So San Antonio and Brahmas fans, let's go. Look at how many seats are available on the visitors side versus how many seats are available on home side. Does it look to you, producer, like there's more Houston Roughneck fans coming to San Antonio than last year?
Maybe the case, but that would surprise me considering they don't show up to their own home games. But you never know. You never know. When I look at this, of course, there's some areas there, home side, visitor side, that there's some good amount of tickets sold. But you also got to remember, looking at this image, this is zoomed in. This is only the lower bowl, and then you have the suites around there, the more premium seating. You don't even see the upper decks of the Alamo Dome. So this is really zoomed in. Yeah. It kind of gives you an idea of the scale of how many tickets aren't sold for this game. There's a lot left to fill the dome. That's not even all the way up in the lower bowl. So
you got a week, folks. Go buy your tickets. I'll tell you what. I'll slip you a little something. So this year, the Bullpen, me, producer, and our families and our friends, close personal friends, we are going to be sitting in what's called the Viva Suite, right? It's a semi-private suite. There are still tickets available to it. If for some stupid reason you want to sit up there, buy a ticket to the Viva Suite, it comes with food, comes with some drink tickets, private bar up there, real nice swanky. It's one of the suites that got remodeled. We talked about them in a few episodes ago when we were breaking down the dome. If you happen to want to sit up there and just talk trash to me the whole time, I'm good with that too. Don't start a fight because I got this real big dude coming with me. But we don't want to, like, bigger than me, big dude, like a foot taller and 200 pounds bigger. But anyways, if you want to sit up there, we're going to be sitting in the Viva Suite. I have 1/4 of the suite that I purchased. That means there are 3/4 of that suite still available. And if you want to sit up there and chew the cud with me and the cow pasture, we're going to call that the dome pasture. I guess we'll start call the Viva Suite our dome pasture. But we'll be hanging out there and having some drinks and having fun.
Yeah, check out the video to that suite if you get a chance. Very nice area. I think that's over there. Some of the newer suites that they added when they did the remodel and added suites for the the Final Four. Yeah,
you think?
Yeah. So
I know it's the south end zone of the stadium, and they're the new suites.
So they're new. They're nice. Very beautiful. It's a great place to watch a game.
Schwanky.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna just take this opportunity. I did not buy those tickets. We want to thank our sponsor, Bangers Fireworks, for that suite. You folks with Bangers know who you are. You watch these episodes. I appreciate you. Thank you for sponsoring one of my football addictions. Bangers Fireworks. Remember, fireworks season's coming up this summer. It'll be right when the UFL is ending. And they give 20% off to anybody wearing any UFL swag. So even if you're a non-Brahmas fan, and you show up at a Bangers Fireworks, they're all down here in San Antonio area, you will get a discount on some of the already lowest priced fireworks in the area. There, I just paid some bills. Let's move on. We got good news. Good news. As recently as last week, if you watched our emergency podcast episode, I had my wife jump on there with me for her first time ever. I was able to talk her into getting in the episode and asked her, based upon the Coach Wade taking a leave of absence, all the coaching changes and strike talk before the season started, how she felt the league was doing, and she said she was worried. Well, guess what? Obviously, we won, and Party's doing amazing. We'll show you some clips of Party and how well the team has bought into him. It's like it's a rallying cry for the team, supporting Party. But then also, we got this news this week. Strike talk squashed. The Players Association and the league came to an agreement. And basically, the league gave the players everything they asked for. Thank you to the league owners for doing this. year-round health care if you play. I believe it's if you play or on the roster for the whole season, right? So if you only come on the roster for 5 games, you're not going to get the year-round health care. But if you're a starter or you're on the practice squad or you're one of those guys that have made the roster the whole season, you're going to get that. Plus, you got the pay raise they asked for. It's awesome. Kevin Seifert, this is his first positive post he ever made about the UFL. Doesn't ever post about the UFL. Then the strike talk happens. He posts about it weekly. Finally, we got a positive post from ESPN. Something good for the league. We got coaches working out. We got Brahmas winning games. We got the football this past weekend was amazing. And no more strike talk. Congratulations to the players. We're very happy for you.
Yeah, and not just the fact the players get what they want, but then the stability that offers with the agreement. Plus, you know that when the UFL came to this agreement, they're doing so with the fact that they felt that it was not only doable, but sustainable. So that can give us confidence. The league's healthy, doing well, moving forward.
We got a collective bargaining agreement. We got games on ESPN and Fox. And we got expansion talk over the next 2 seasons. So, I mean, what else do you need, fans, to buy into this league? It's going to exist. We have passed the point of no return. This is a self-rolling ball of momentum now. And there's no reason why you don't jump on board, start investing your time and your energy and your money into making this league even more successful. Watch the games, follow people on social media, engage on social media, engage with the league, and go to the games in person. Right?
Absolutely.
All right. This is the Brahma Bullpen, so we are going to get into Brahma news. Crazy stuff going on. We know Wade Phillips stepped away. Party was promoted from position coach to offensive coordinator, now to head coach. Well, Jack Welch has now been hired. According to James Larson, the only source I saw reporting this, hasn't come out from the league that I've seen yet. I was just looking at the news releases today, did not run across it. But Jack Welch, for those of you who don't know, Jack Welch is like I don't even know how to describe it. He's like one of the OG football coaches. Got all kinds of high school coaching records down here. He coached down at Texas A&M Commerce, which is where the Spring King played ball at. I don't know if they were there at the same time. But also Jack Welch most recently was on the staff for the San Antonio Caballeros. If you watched any of our Caballero Corral episodes, we actually highlighted Coach Welch, I think on the second episode there. So I got to hang out with him in Somerset, talked to him a little bit, and he was 100% in on the IFA and the Caballeros. So it's pretty cool that he was here, he was in town, he was available. Bam, now he's the assistant coach there. Guy's got a rich coaching lineage here in Texas. Anything on Coach Welch?
I am not as familiar with him as you are, but I will say I'm happy to have him. And there's been a lot of coaching adjustments, but I feel excited. I feel positive about the adjustments that have been made, whether it's Party, whether it's Welsh. I'm feeling great about the Brahmas and their current coaching staff.
Yeah. The one thing is I am interested to finding out or hearing about whenever we get the chance of seeing if Cody Latimer's on the coaching staff, because it was reported the week before when AJ left the team that Latimer was hired to be the tight ends and wide receiver coach. And now we see Jack Welch. So I don't know if something went down there, but we'll see what happens. And if I get a chance to ask, I'm going to ask. That's going to be my first question if I get a chance to ask somebody. So stay tuned for that, and we'll get the coaching news for you guys. But with that, let's start talking about the game. Now, before we go talking about game, you got to see this video. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And it's Puro San Antonio, Puro, Texas. I love a Texas team going to D.C. and representing the state. We all know about Wade Phillips and his father, right? And Bum Phillips, and coaching the Oilers and being from Houston and being Puro, Texas. We're all Texans down here. I love the fact Texas got 3 teams and everybody else don't eat it the rest of the country. Love it. But check this stadium walk-in. Just watch this. There's Coach Phillips paying homage to his dad, and there's head coach Peyton Party, paying homage to both of them. Hey, that guy could pull off a cowboy hat, can he?
Oh, he looks slick.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I'm feeling positive. Of course, that's not on-field results, but just that in itself, that gives me a good feeling.
That's some swag.
I love it.
That's some deep South Texas swag right there. I don't care what nobody says. But when you got a coach with swag like that and you get buy-in from the teams and you build this family, look, the difference between winning and losing a game is not always talent. There's tons of talent in this league. It's about motivation. It's about team spirit, camaraderie, and the guys, the try hard. Everybody wanting to try hard. And speaking of try hard, we have a new running back that was just signed. He got his first game action this week, and he kicked off the game scoring. Well, not kicked off the game. He scored on the first drive of the game, and it's the first time this season we scored before halftime. So let's watch this. Robbins' touchdown, his first touchdown in his Brahmas career.
Working against the best total defense in the UFL. On third down, handoff up the middle, plowing into the end
Good
zone.
old
Robbins,
good old-fashioned rough and tough football.
First half touchdown of the year for the Brahmas.
That was exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting to see, to start that game there in the first quarter. Great way to start it. The effort that was put forth, and he just went head on. It was a nice play.
Rough and tough. We're going to show you more rough and tough. We're going to show you some of those big hits that people were criticizing the Brahmas for last week. We're going to bring you some of those today. But a lot of people always want to see offense. And then there are some people that just love defense. But you know what? Last week we had huge special teams plays with a blocked punt. This week we had another huge special team play from one of our newer members to the Brahmas. Was signed earlier in the year. Was not on the squad last year, but he is making his presence heard. Doesn't get on the field too much as a wide receiver, but look what Sexton did on this punt return. Special teams, special plays, special people.
It's like that.
Was that plagiarism?
Is Paxton Brooks at the 18-yard line.
Look at that.
Sexton bouncing
Look at this.
to the outside. Matthews, Sexton with room down the
He's
sideline.
just outrunning him.
Sexton with one man in front, and Sexton gets by all the way for a Brahmas touchdown.
You got to wrap him up, boys. You can't hand tackle Sexton. Come on.
Yeah.
Old school football. Speaking of old school football, you remember when they were talking about DC and how good Abram Smith was?
Yeah.
I think you even told me Abram Smith was really good.
I was definitely expecting more out of him in this game.
Beckett led our team in tackles this past weekend. And not only was he making tackles, he was making hits. Folks, watch this highlight.
Second down and 10. Tom will swing it out of the backfield to Abram Smith. Got a block. And Smith planted. I mean, a shoulder shiver.
Maybe that's why he didn't do much the rest of the game.
Abram Smith was still hurt. Well, he got hit later. He got hit later, got the wind knocked out of him. It took him off the field, you know. I'll tell you what, this Brahma defense is flying around the field putting hits on folks, man.
Yeah, look good.
Yeah. I don't want no one to get permanently hurt, folks, but I do like
this
seeing
this is football.
These
This
are
is
pro.
football. Let them play.
pro football, folks.
Yeah. Big hits are fun to watch.
Yeah. You know what else is fun to watch?
What's that?
Touchdown runs. And
that's always great.
touchdown runs where the will of the running back is greater than the will of the defender. Watch this touchdown run for Robbins, his second touchdown of his young Brahmas career.
On third and goal.
Look at that.
Robbins steps through a tackle. Robbins into the end zone for the touchdown. His second of the
Great
day.
effort. Great effort on his part. And, man, good to see a young, hungry player like that just putting forth that much effort.
Yeah, he wasn't going to be stopped. The defender tried to go low, ankle tackle him, not stopping him. Then there's two defenders on the goal line. It didn't matter what those defenders were doing. He was getting across the goal line. Way to go, Robbins. Appreciate all you're doing for the team. Another fan favorite we're going to talk about, show a little highlight right now. Greg Ward Jr. Everybody knows he played for the Commanders back in the day, was one of our top wideouts for the Commanders. I still hate you, Charlie Ebersol. Still have a hole in my heart. In fact, Greg Ward's autograph is on this flag right here. You can kind of see the autographs in here. Greg Ward's autograph is on there. And I still hate you, Charlie Ebersol, but I still love you, Ward. Watch this play. It was a good throw by Mond, too.
Turn. He starts in and then moves back out.
Zipped it in there. Zipped it in there.
Ward into the end zone for a Brahmas touchdown.
Zipped it. Whoa. I've never been able to throw a ball like that in my whole life. Okay? So I'm very impressed. I'm also very impressed with the O-line. DC came into this game leading the league in sacks. We covered it in last week's episode. We highlighted Anthony Hines, two of the top 3 sack gators, all those stats that producer brought to you. Guess what? 0 sacks. Thank you, O-line. Thank you, you unsung heroes of football, for kicking the DC defenders' front 7 butts in DC. Thank you. Passion. Passion.
Yeah.
Do you have any of that passion?
Full of it.
Oh, all right.
No, I'm glad to see that, as strong as they were, we were able to hold up against them. Major reason that game went the way it did, but
They weren't very strong. We beat them.
Well,
we were stronger.
Well, according to the stats going into the game, they were very strong in that area.
They were better,
They were better.
not stronger.
Okay.
Speaking of stronger, we did get a sack. And we got that highlight for you. Emily missed last week due to injury. Comes back this week. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I posted that I think Emily being back this week before the game, go check the timeline. I posted before the game that this was a big deal for us to get Emily back. And why? This is why.
Gab, you take a shot downfield at some point.
Pressure comes and down he goes.
Sack.
A team that had not had anything from pressure in the first 3 games. Just 2 total
sack
sacks.
last game,
Gets
you
one
stupid
here at a
announcer.
huge time.
Yeah, and Will Reed, he's going to call that corner blitz. Jordan Ta'amu steps up away from the blitzer on that play. That was William Hooper that came off of the edge, but
Look, Lawrence played good. Savion Patton played good. Emily played good. That sack he didn't get on his own. He got that sack because we were getting penetration all night. Our D-line was getting penetration. Anytime we rushed 4, we got the quarterback off his spot. And when we rushed 5, good things like that happen. I'll show you a play at the end of the game where rushing 5 saved our butts too. But we did get our best pressure of the season in this game against DC.
Yeah, it's good to see that happen. This is an area that we really need to work on, that we struggled, for example, against Arlington. We really got pushed around at times, and so there's been massive improvement made in that area.
Yeah. Defense played great. Offense played great. We're going to show some of Mond's stats later for all you haters. You know who I'm talking to. I'm always talking to some hater on here, whether it's the ones that don't like big hits or whether it's the ones that have been calling for Mond to be benched all season. And I've been saying, no way. This guy is an accurate passer, and he is a championship caliber quarterback in this league. He just needed to get his legs on him. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But speaking about defense and pressure, to follow along with the Emily sack, look at this last play of the game. Game on the line, 24-18. Brahmas up by 6. This is it. Last play. What makes this play possible? Pressure on the quarterback.
C trying to remain unbeaten. Ta'amu, pressure up the middle, throws for the end zone. It's incomplete. Nobody saw it. San Antonio is going to come into DC and get their first win of the year.
Yeah, let them know, Mosley. Ta'amu, your bench is over there. Go get on it. Beautiful play. Beautiful play. Beautiful win. Brahmas get the dub. Love it, love it, love it. We got a game coming up this weekend that you would think right off the bat would be a win for us. We'll see. We'll break it down in here in a little bit. But before we go on to locker room antics, you got anything you want to talk about as far as the game itself?
I enjoyed it. It was a great game. Outcome was far better than I was potentially expecting it to be. But all those areas, the Brahmas have started to play better. They've gained confidence, gained experience. They've gotten better in all these little facets. And there's a lot of things that could be contributed to that, particularly with all the changes. But I'm happy to see that they are making those improvements, and it gives us a really good sense of hope for the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely on the upswing. And we were talking about it a little bit earlier. It's the motivation. It's the want to. It's the try hard. It's the give a damn. It's the put in the work. It's put in the practice. Watch the film and be ready and show that effort. And you don't get that. It has by accident. It has to come organically. So all the stuff that's been happening, starting off 0-3 after making the championship, losing the OC, losing the HC head coach, and Party getting promoted up, you can tell he's got a good relationship with a lot of players. And I'm going to show you a video from the locker room. And this doesn't just happen. But winning cures all. Winning makes everybody happy. And when you get the big mo on your side, the big momentum, you move forward. We're going to be counting on that to get us through the rest of the season. But watch this scene from the locker room.
From the bottom of my hearts, man. We talked about it. Try not to cry. We talked. We got some back, Party. I love you guys. This team's got a lot of resiliency in it. Right? I'm proud of you guys. Defense, when we needed it most.
Let's go.
Offense, we got some stuff to clean up, but man, we ran that motherfucking ball.
Almost slipped.
Saw the camera behind him. He's like, oh.
Don't forget this feeling. Right? This is just the beginning. But our work in preparation next week
Really, bro?
has to match.
Live on YouTube?
I love y'all, down my heart. Great job, guys. Let's go. Process on 3. 1, 2, 3. Process.
I don't think it was me.
Party wasn't the only one with like stuff thrown all over him. Good grief. But yeah, man, what an awesome scene from the locker room. What a way to celebrate. Way to motivate the team. But also, oh man, look at my hat. I'm all messed up, man. But also, way to keep the team focused on what's coming next week. You know, next week is going to be big. They're going to have to stay focused, right?
Yeah, I like how he commands the room. Got a solid presence. Those players really respect him.
Okay. But speaking of stats and Mond and everything, we talked about this. Look, going into the season, you only get 3 weeks of training camp. There's 15 practices. We're 4 weeks into the season now. You know, you basically get like 3 or 4 full practices a week. So now we're getting to the point where we have 15 preseason practices. We got our week practices. So let's say that's another 15 to 20 practices. So now you're up to that 30, 40 practice range, and you got 4 live games. All that means is everybody should be getting better. The teams across the league's offenses have vastly improved over what they were doing in week 1. Every one of them. The metrics are up on every team. And for those of you that were crying for Mond to be benched, I mean, I hope you guys just saw what he's capable of doing. I think it's just going to stay on par and get better from here. Not a lot of passing yards, only 121, but we're focusing on running the ball. You heard Party right there just a minute ago. Run the ball. He just said that. That is a point of emphasis. Corbin, McFarland, and Robbins are going to get fed this whole season. I'm okay with that. I've mentioned it before. I love old school football. I wouldn't mind seeing a fullback. Give me some eye formation. I'll take it. Spread is fun, but the eye is bruising. Anyways, I digress. Getting off on a little tangent of old school football. But 20 out of 14, 70% completion percentage, a touchdown, QB rating of 137.3, and look at that, 0 INTs, baby. And I'll even tell you, of those 6 incompletions, there was at least 4 of them that were purposefully thrown away to avoid a sack or to not make a bad play. It was like on a second down, throw the ball away, live for the next play. So, I mean, it's not even like those are bad incompletions. It was a wonderful game by Kellen Mond. Anything you want to add? Any players that you saw that you liked from the game that you want to talk about before we move on to the standings?
Well, I'll say as far as Mond goes, you know, the efficiency there stands out. They're starting to streamline really the offense to tailor to his strengths, and we see the results of it, right? Emphasized by that quarterback rating. So glad to see that. Wouldn't mind seeing him rush a little bit more, but then again, we don't want to get him hurt either. But I'd like to see him use his legs a little more.
How many rushing attempts a game do you want him to have?
But I'm
Give
fine.
Give me a number.
I'm fine with him standing back there. As far as an offensive player,
No, you said you want Mond to run more. Now I'm
Yeah.
asking you, how many rushing attempts a game do you want him to have?
not so much rushing attempts. I want him to perhaps scramble more.
Okay,
But-
that's a rushing attempt. How many of those a game do you want him to have? Just give. You want him to rush 20 times, 10 times, 5 times? What?
I got no idea.
You just said you want him to run more. I'm trying to get a number
You're
out of you.
just trying to put me on the spot as best as you can.
No, you said you want to see him run more. Okay, I asked how many times you want him to run a game that would make you happy. It'd be the same thing as being like it'd be the same thing like if you were like he needs to throw the ball more, and I was like, okay, how many yards per game should he be passing for?
I think if he maybe scrambled 2 or 3 more times.
How many times a game?
I just said 2 or 3.
Okay, so if he scrambled 3 more times this game, what would that total scrambles be for the game?
I don't know.
So just give me the damn number. What's an acceptable number of rushing attempts?
Anyway, we'll move on. McFarland is a player.
I'm just asking for you to give me a number. How many times do you want a quarterback to run?
What do you want me to give you exact stats?
I want you to just tell me from
I already
producer's
did. I already
standpoint.
did.
You know, you said 3 or 4 more, which is not a number because we don't know what the baseline is. So give me the damn number.
The damn number.
Yes.
The damn number.
How many rushing attempts?
I don't care.
10?
Yeah, 20.
20? You
Yeah, I
want
want 20.
You want our quarterback
Yeah,
to run the
sure.
ball 20 times?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't even. What number? Just give me the real number, dude. How many times you want to run the ball? I'm just asking.
Man, you've stayed on this for way too long.
I'm just asking.
I hope you edit all this out.
Give me the damn number of rushing attempts.
I don't care. What difference does it make? 20. I don't care.
You want
10.
our quarterback to rush 20 times?
No, I don't want him to rush 20 times.
Okay, well,
it's
what
ridiculous. I don't have a number. I just want him to run a couple more times. Leave it at that.
Okay, you want him to run a couple more times. So what does that equal?
This is why I drink, people.
He rushed the ball 6 times. So according to our producer's non-logical statement, he wants him to run 8 times a game. So the number is 8. The number you're looking for that you cannot fathomly produce from your mouth is 8. Moving right along. Let's get into standings.
You should edit all that out.
You know why he didn't want that in there? Because he didn't even know how many times he rushed, and I was trying to pinpoint him on a number, and that's why. Just so you guys know. All I wanted was a number. Give me a number. All right. Let's get into our standings.
Ridiculous.
League standings. Birmingham, Arlington, D.C., and Michigan are all 3 at 1. 2 USFL teams, 2 XFL teams, all 3 at 1. Then we got St. Louis, the lone team at 2 and 2. Brahmas and Houston 1 and 3, and Memphis 0 and 4. The reason why I'm showing you this is Birmingham stats don't matter, Michigan stats don't matter, Houston and Memphis stats do not matter. What matters for the Brahma are the Arlington win-loss conference, the DC's win-loss conference, and St. Louis win-loss conference. So we're going to pop those up right now, and we're going to just look at them together. Every one of the teams are right here. So the Brahmas are 1 and 2 in conference. We lost to Arlington and St. Louis. Arlington are 2 and 0. They've lost a game, but they haven't lost a conference game. St. Louis 1 and 2. St. Louis and San Antonio are the 2 teams that have played 3 conference games. You got DC 1 and 1. The 1 loss coming to us. All right. So then the games that you see below are the games that are left. So if Brahmas win out, that's a 2 conference loss. Another conference loss for St. Louis, another conference loss for DC, which would give the Brahmas the tiebreaker over both of them. So all the Brahmas need to do is beat DC and St. Louis, and they're going to be a lock for the playoffs. No matter what happens when we play Birmingham or Houston this weekend. For those of you that are casual fans, it's all about getting in the top 2 of your conference. There's only 4 teams in there. You only got to beat 2. Even if Arlington, wins out or whatever they wind up doing, we really need Arlington to beat DC and beat St. Louis. If Arlington can beat DC and St. Louis, which they've already beat St. Louis once, but if they can beat them the second time and beat DC this coming weekend, well, there you go. the Brahmas are looking good despite starting off 0-3. Producer, I'm going to ask you for another stat to put on here. What do you think the odds are that the Brahmas can win their next 3 conference games? 10% more than you thought last week?
To win 3 more conference games. Well, let's see. Home game, road game, home game. So we got 2 of those are going to be home games. If I had to put a number on it, I'm going to say to win all 3, 35 to 40%.
40%?
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a 60% chance they're going to lose? Man, at least he gave me a number. I'm not even going to give him a hard time. He finally
out of 3 games.
He finally gave us a hard number. I'm not even going to harass him. I like that prediction. Thank you for sharing. I actually think the Brahmas have a very, very good shot of winning the next 3 games. We already beat DC in DC. Odds would tell you we have a good chance of beating them at home. St. Louis lost their starting quarterback for the season. They have a backup in.
Yep.
We don't know how good he is or how good he's not going to be. We do know he likes to run the ball, but I definitely think there was a reason Wilkins was starting. Other people would tell you that Dugan's just as good, but I saw Dugan in that national championship game, and there's a reason that he's not playing in the NFL. I'm not a quarterback guru. All I'm saying is Wilkins was better because he was starting, so St. Louis probably took a step backwards this past weekend due to the unfortunate loss. So realistically, in my mind, the game that we're going to have the biggest struggle to win is, believe it or not, the last game of the season in the Alamo Dome against Arlington Renegades. And who knows what's going to happen when we get there. Arlington does not look as good as they did when we played them in week 1. And who knows what's going to happen when we get to week 10. So I think we have pretty good odds. I'm going to go opposite of producer. I'm going to say 60% chance to win the next 3 conference games and make the playoffs.
So when you're prop betting, every time you add a player to your scenario, to your bet, what happens?
Your odds of winning go down.
Exactly. So we're talking at odds of winning 3 games. 2 of them are against very tough opponents, and
all 3 of them are against very tough.
Well,
opponents.
okay, all 3 of them, but your 2 toughest out of that are home games. St. Louis, of course, they're down a quarterback, but still a very talented team, and that's going to be tough. I'm not saying it's not possible. I want them to do it, but just to say right now at this point, we're going to take all 3. I think you're overconfident. I want it.
Cool.
I like it, but I think you're overconfident.
That's okay. I didn't ask if you thought I was overconfident. I asked what your percentage of winning was. But, hey, go ahead and criticize me for being overconfident. So sorry, producer. All right.
We're in the mood for criticizing one another, you know?
I give direct, poignant answers with a number attached to it. You make weird stuff up with no actual answer. Anyways,
that's my job here.
Speaking of me and my overconfidence, I will admit I've been overconfident all year. Sue me for being consistent. I apologize. But I happen to think the Brahmas are the team that played this past Sunday is the Brahmas team I was expecting in week 1. Took them 3 weeks to get warmed up. But here's our predictions for this coming week. I am 5-11 for the season. I suck. And in case you're wondering, I haven't been winning on prop bets either. That's why I don't do a betting show. But I went with all home teams. I went with the Stallions over Memphis because Memphis sucks. I went with St. Louis over Michigan because I happen to think that the XFL is better than a USFL. And I happen to think St. Louis is not going to want to lose 2 games in a row. I think Arlington is encroaching on my belief to be the best team in the entire UFL. We'll see what happens when they play DC this weekend. And then everyone knows the struggles of Houston, even though they do look far better in week 4, or they did look far better in week 4 than what they looked like in weeks 1 and 2. So did the Brahmas. And I happen to think our offense is better than theirs, and I think our defense is slightly better. And I know that our special teams is better, so I'm taking the Brahmas to win. Producer's been kicking my butt. He's got a winning record. So if you are going to put money on this game, go with his picks.
Yeah, I think the Brahmas, forgive me, I'm going to start at the top. I think
You can start wherever you want.
The Stallions, I think that's obviously an easy victory there. With the Battlehawks and the Panthers, I think that's you could easily go both directions. I could see it going both directions. With the quarterback injury and as talented as Michigan is, I just see them getting the win there. But I was really close at picking the Battlehawks on that one. DC versus the Renegades. I'm going to go DC. They lost a game. They're going to be fiery to redeem themselves. Arlington's coming off a victory. So I think they're going to be a little bit more comfortable. I'm not saying that necessarily matters as far as the outcome of the game. Just looking at it, I'm feeling DC. That's just my gut instinct on it. And
I picked DC last week too, if y'all remember.
That's my gut instinct on it. And Brahmas, I think they're gonna curb stomp Houston.
You finally picked the Brahmas.
Yeah.
You went from not
I
picking
picked the Brahmas.
You went from not picking the Brahmas.
I picked them in week 2.
You went from not picking the Brahmas 3 out of 4 weeks to this week they're going to curb stop somebody that quick for you?
Yes, I think they're going to destroy Houston.
Wow. Shots fired, dude. Shots. You know what? Shock. This is producers a shock jock on here. Well, anyways,
Told you that's my job to make crap up on here. You jump on me for it.
I'm
just doing what I'm doing.
I just wanted you to give me a number so I could react to the number, but you wouldn't even do that. So I was like twisting your arm, and you still were like, "No, I'm not going to answer the question."
Yeah, it was stupid.
It was a good question. I'll give you one final chance. How many rushing attempts do you want a quarterback to have per game?
As many as are needed.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah, dude! That's what I'm talking about, producer. Way to stay to it, baby. Way to stay to it. With that, we're going to end this episode like we always do with a nice horns forward. Let's go Brahmas, baby.